Hi, everyone. I want to talk to you briefly today about mobilizing existing media. Now, what exactly do I mean by that term mobilizing? It's not a term we really throw around much, but I think it'll kind of make sense when you hear two different perspectives on this. The first is to make our existing media mobile friendly and mobile ready. Because as we all know, the little screen, that little device that all of us are carrying around in our pockets or purses, that device that more than 5 billion people around the world are using, that little screen is the biggest screen in the world because it's the one that we always have with us. It's the one that we look at more often than any other. And so we want to have our media ready to be used on that mobile device. And secondly, by mobilizing, we mean getting ready, preparing for active duty. We want to prepare our media to go out and be used actively to make some impact on those around us. So that's what we mean by mobilizing our existing media. How can we do that? Why do we want to do that? Well, let's look at three quick reasons why we're interested in doing this. First, to make our media far more accessible. Because that media is so powerful, we've got a cache of existing media perhaps that we know has in the past proven useful. Well, we want to make that as accessible as possible, and the benefit of mobiles is that we do have those devices with us, for better and for worse, all the time, everywhere. And by having our media ready to be used on mobile devices, we can use that media, we can access that media anytime, anywhere. Whether or not we're online, have cellular or Wi-Fi connections or not, there are ways that we can use that media, and that really makes it much more powerful. Number two, having it on our mobile devices makes it much, much easier to share with people. Not just letting them listen to something or view something, but being able to pass a copy on to them as well. Now, of course, we're not encouraging you to distribute copyrighted content, but for content that you have distribution rights to, then by all means, having that, if it's good media, we want to get that into the hands of as many people as possible. There was an interesting story that I heard several years ago about a group, I think from Indiana in the US, who were involved in some relief and development work in a poor area of Africa. And there was food being distributed, and the food came in big plastic bags, and they noticed that those bags didn't always get closed properly, and the food would spoil. And so they made a little video on a mobile phone, and they passed it along to a few people in this village they were working in. And they came back a few months later and were just trying to check up to see how things were going, and they noticed that that video was now on the phones of just about everybody in the village. And not just them, but also it was on the phones of people in a number of the surrounding villages as well. That video got Bluetoothed from phone to phone to phone to phone to phone and just kind of went viral through those villages. And that was just a simple little how-to video, how to seal a bag properly. But I think that speaks well to this whole idea of going viral. Now, viral doesn't mean it has to impact tens or hundreds of millions of people. Something can go viral in an extended family or a small community of people. And what that really means is it's going to impact more than just the person that originally receives it. And by having our media ready on our mobile devices, the potential for that then to go viral, however big or small viral may look, it's much greater. And so we want to have our media ready on those mobile devices so that it can impact more people. And number three, in this age of what we call new media, digital media, unlike old media where it was more of a broadcast type of thing, media went out, but we didn't really have much control of it after it went out. Now we have the ability to wrap our media content in strategy. We can shape the impact that it's going to have. Practically, what does this look like? Well, let's say you're sharing a video on social media. You can ask a question along with that and say, have you ever experienced something similar? How did this make you feel? and you can encourage a dialogue about a particular topic that your media addresses. Or you could say, hey, if this impacted you, if you really liked this, click here to visit our website to learn more. Or check out our next video right here. So we can sort of control and guide people in terms of how they respond to what they've seen or heard or read with our media. And that's a really powerful feature of having our media ready on our mobile devices or for use on other digital platforms. Okay, so real quickly, let's take a look at 3 different types of media and how we can mobilize these and why we would want to. Number 1 is audio. Now, audio kind of takes a backseat in many ways to its bigger, more glamorous sibling, video, but audio is still a really powerful genre, a really powerful media form. Part of the reason for that is because the standard for audio is MP3. It's a compressed audio format that plays on almost every digital device in the world today, including those old flip phones and candy stick style phones. They're not smartphones. We call them dumb phones oftentimes. The more correct term would be a feature phone. But even on those older phones, MP3 audio plays really well. And that makes it a really powerful format for distributing audio content. And of course, audio is powerful because unlike video, it can be listened to somewhat passively. You don't have to be staring at a screen while you're listening to audio. You can be commuting to work or working at the bazaar or out in the field if you're working in rural areas or with people that are more rural. Whatever the setting is, the ability to listen to audio while we're doing something else makes it a very powerful format. And of course, many of the peoples of the world are oral learners. Even though they may be highly literate, they still have a strong preference for oral content. They would much rather listen to something than read something. And so audio content is really valuable. It's also, compared to video, much smaller files and much easier to distribute because of that. It takes up less storage space. So sharing it from phone to phone via Bluetooth or micro SD cards, those little small memory cards, cost $3, $4, $5 for a card that can store an entire library of audio content, as well as video and text and other types of content. You can post stuff out on the web on cloud services like Dropbox. You can share audio files over social media or messaging apps like WhatsApp or Facebook Messenger, or even over MMS. We can send some small audio files. So it is a great format. Get it into MP3 format, and then it will work on just about any device you want to get it onto. Now, video. Of course, video is that big, glamorous other sibling for audio. It is the most engaging of all media formats today. It's estimated that by next year, 2018, 80% of all internet traffic is expected to be video. We have an insatiable appetite for video, and I think a lot of the reason for that is that it not only can inform us, but it can move us emotionally. It can evoke our emotions, and that makes it super, super powerful. We know our brains are wired to process images far faster than they are text or even audio. So there's a lot to the power of video. And so we want to make sure that video content that we have is mobile ready. One key way to do that is to make sure it's in the proper format. 3GP is a format that many of you may not have heard of, but it's the format used on those older phones. It's a smaller file, lower resolution, not terribly high quality, but it still works. And for people who are on feature phones, if you're working with people like that, you want to make sure that your videos are in 3GP format. For others who have smartphones, MP4 is the standard. And this is very standard. If you're shooting video on your phone, it's probably recording in MP4 format. And that's fine. That makes it very easy to share directly. But we recommend having video content available in both of these formats so that anyone that you want to share it to will be able to play it. Now, how do you do this? Well, it's quite simple actually. There are a number of programs. The first three up here are free, and they will automatically convert the video for you. You simply tell it which video or videos you want to format. It can process more than one at a time. And you tell it what device you want to make this available on. For example, on an older feature phone, or an iPad or an iPhone, or YouTube, or something you can put onto a CD or DVD. Whatever you want to make this available on, you just tell the program that, and it does all of the work for you. It changes all of the settings. It has all of these different presets to choose from, and it does all the work for you. So very simple to use. And again, the first three are free. The fourth one, Nero Recode, that is a paid program, about $30 new in 2017, but you can often find a coupon to knock that price down to about $15. Just do a quick web search. I do like the interface on Nero Recode a little bit better, just a little bit cleaner interface. Not surprising since it's a paid program. But any of these programs will do the job for you and are very easy to use. You do not need to be a media person or a techie. In fact, some of these websites on these links here will point you to YouTube or other tutorials that will walk you through just how to use the software. And then lastly, I want to mention text. Text sounds old school, and it is, but it's still very powerful. And we have more opportunities now than ever before to convert our text-based content into a mobile-ready format. One of the tools that I'm most excited about is called Reading App Builder. It's a free program for both Mac and Windows that will allow non-programmers like me and maybe you to easily convert structured text. It doesn't have to be highly structured, but text-based content into an Android or iOS app. Now, it doesn't have to just be text. It can also include images and even audio. If you have anything that's got, think of a flipbook type of content where you've got a picture and then maybe some descriptive text, could be a little bit or a lot. You can convert that very easily into an app. Songbooks have been used as an example. Anything that lends itself to a book, so anything that's been published that you distribute in printed format could easily be turned into an app. If you have PowerPoint presentations, for example, those are basically images, right? You have slides with maybe some speaker notes to go with those. That can easily be turned into an app. If you can load that into Microsoft Word with an image, an optional image, and some text, and then some optional audio, you can, again, convert that into an app. Very simple. Reading App Builder is a completely free tool, excellent to use, and I highly recommend it. Calibre, I'm not sure the exact correct pronunciation for that, but it is an ebook converter. It will take a variety of text-based formats and convert them into a variety of ebook formats. And there are apps that can play most popular ebook formats, Kindle and EPUB or iBooks, etc. So that's an easy way to convert a lot of those older documents that you may have. And then if you're a Kindle user, or if you're working among Kindle users, Amazon will actually convert text or text-based documents like PDF files into Kindle format for you. As a Kindle user, you have a customized, personalized email address, and anything you send to that address that's in PDF or Word document, for example, Amazon will send you back a Kindle version of that automatically, and then you can post that out on the web, you can share it, you can put it on your Kindle, whatever you want to do with it. All of that is free. And then don't forget PDF files. PDF is the gold standard for documents in the digital era. They don't necessarily always render well on smartphones. Navigation might be a little bit more challenging because of the size of that screen and having to zoom in and out, but it is an easy format to create. Most of our computers will save directly to PDF format, and all we need to do is copy that file over onto our mobile devices, or email it to our mobile devices, or download it onto our mobile devices. However we want to get it onto our devices, they can probably read a PDF file. So that's kind of low-hanging fruit. And then lastly, screenshots of text. They can be used for feature phones. So those feature phones may not be able to run apps, they may not be able to read PDF files, but they can show images, they can show pictures. And so if you create text, put your text in little bite-sized chunks into images, then you can save those images for people to flip through one by one to read through the text on those images. An easy way to do this, if you don't have another way to use, would be to create a PowerPoint presentation. Each slide will become its own picture with some text on it. Now the key here, don't put too much text because of the size of the screen that people would be looking at this on. You want to make sure it's easily readable. So think of small bite-sized chunks of text. But that gives you another option, even for those old feature phones, to share text-based content. Well, I hope you found this helpful, and I hope you will consider what media content that you have that you could mobilize to make it more useful in this age of new media. Thanks a lot for listening. Take care.